This program is part of the Devil's Mark Podcast Network, the official podcast network of Shadow Path Diabolism.
This is the Dark Illumination Report podcast for Monday, September 7th, 2020. And on today's episode, I'm just going to be talking a little bit about a motivational book and let you know a little bit about what's been going on around here lately. We'll get to that and more next on today's episode.
This is the Dark Illumination Report podcast, the official podcast of Shadow Path Diabolism, your daily dose of Diabolonian philosophy to inspire you on your journey down the crooked shadow path. Here's your host, R.J. Womack, Brother Nero.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for this episode of the podcast. As always, I'm your host, R.J. Womack, aka Brother Nero, and this is the Dark Illumination Report podcast, the podcast where we promote the religious worship of Satan and demons as a serious faith and way of life, and we try to help our fellow diabolists on their journey down the crooked shadow path. And on today's episode, I'm going to try to be a little bit more positive than I have been the last couple of episodes. Being that I believe that Satan is a god of nature and a god of balance, I believe that this show should reflect what I believe in. And since I've been a little bit negative lately, I'm going to try to be positive by giving you a book recommendation by Jeffrey Hayden called The Motivation Myth to help you kind of stay motivated and kind of stay focused in your life. Because I believe that's what we're supposed to do as ministers. We're supposed to help people better their life, and their religion should help them strengthen themselves and help them better themselves, not only for themselves, but for Satan as well. And I think this book by Jeffrey Hayden will help you. It's called The Motivation Myth, and what it does is it cuts down on all the new age bullshit that you find in a lot of self-help and personal development books, and kind of gives you practical advice about how to set goals and how to keep yourself motivated on a daily basis. And so I want to make sure to recommend that to you. I highly recommend that you read it. It's got a lot of good advice. It also talks about the don't break the chain method invented by Seinfeld, by Jerry Seinfeld. And it talks about a lot of other different techniques that will help you achieve your goals. And as you know, I've always said that I believe in having a life plan. I believe in having a plan that you review on a daily or weekly basis to make sure that you're going in the right direction with your life. I find that far too many people just kind of drift through life without any focus, without any motivation, without knowing who or what they are or what they stand for. And they tend to get manipulated by people because they don't know who and what they are. They don't know what they truly believe in and what they're willing to fight for and die for. And I think as diabolists, we need to be clear about what we actually believe, what we stand for, and what we're willing to fight and die for. And the way you do that is by writing it down. Write down your goals in every aspect of your life, and then review that plan on a daily and weekly basis to make sure you're going in the right direction. And if you're not going in the right direction, then change something. The other thing I want to mention too before I finish this podcast is that someone asked me whether I do mentorships online or in person, or if I know anybody in England that does mentorships. And the answer is yes, I know quite a few people in England, but they don't do mentorships. They're not public people. Now that may change within the next 6 to 12 months, but at this point, they're not public. When they are, I will let you know on this podcast. I also want to point out there's a lot of things going on in this podcast behind the scenes that y'all aren't aware of. So we're always doing stuff, and we've always got projects going on. And right now, even if I wanted to do like an online course or something, because that's what the listener asked me, if I did online courses about diabolism and stuff like that, even if I wanted to, which I do, I don't have the time right now. This podcast is about as close as I get to an online course for now. And because of all the stuff that's been going on lately, I mean, who really wants to be public if they had a choice? I mean, because to be honest, if I could make the choice again, I would not be a public figure in diabolism or Satanism. I wouldn't have not come forward and done this podcast, I don't think, had I known what was waiting for me and had I known how people really were going to be and what the community was really like, I don't think I would have gone out of my way to be public. I think I would have been like my friends and stayed private. In light of everything that's been going on over the last few weeks, who can blame them? I wouldn't want to do it. And I don't know many people that would. But anyway, so like I was saying, this podcast is about as close as I get to mentorship. And I hope it helps people. And I hope it helps people to know where they stand and to understand where I'm coming from. And just to give you a little bit of an overview of shadow path diabolism, because people keep asking me to explain what we believe. We're polytheists who believe that Satan is the chief deity of our pantheon, and all the other demons are gods in their own right, who serve Satan willingly and who work with him to help mankind and to help us evolve and to grow and change. And we believe they're the ones that gave mankind self-awareness and free will, science and technology. And they're the ones that helped us to break free from the demiurge that is Jehovah. That's what we believe. And instead of focusing on concepts like right and left-hand path, we focus on trying to be in harmony with nature, meaning that we don't take our morals from some arbitrary dualism or dualistic concept that came to us from Christianity. We look to nature. Nature is neither black nor white, nor good nor evil. It is shades of gray. If you look at the animal kingdom, there are clearly things that animals do that could be seen as evil or dark or cruel. And then there are things that could be seen as loving and supportive and stuff like that. You look at elephants, the way they treat each other, or you look at the way a mother bear is with her cubs, or anything like that. So there's good and evil, light and dark, right and left, if you want to call it that, in nature. But we choose not to put arbitrary labels on it, and we choose to go with nature. And we believe that each and every individual diabolist must define their own moral code for themselves and do what is right for them. And they have the right to live their life as they see fit. And how they live their life is between them and Satan. And no one has the right to interfere with that. And not even your fellow brothers and sisters in diabolism should interfere with your choices in life, as long as you don't interfere with their choices. In fact, we talk a lot about this. We have a non-interference policy as part of our Diabolonian philosophy, which says, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. You don't bother me, I won't bother you. But if you bother me, I'm going to make you pay for that, for causing me trouble. And in fact, we believe very strongly in the idea that diabolists should stand up for themselves. We believe that a shadow path diabolist should not just lay back and let people abuse them. And in fact, it's one of the reasons why this ministry was founded, because we honestly believe that up to this point, religious Satanists have been relatively weak. They've been relatively soft. They allow the atheistic Satanists to abuse and bully them and mistreat them, and they don't stand up for themselves. And we're not suggesting that anybody do anything violent or criminal. What we're suggesting is that you stand up for yourself, you defend your rights, and if somebody crosses the line, you call law enforcement and you have them arrested, or you sue them in court. That's what you do until they learn to leave you be. And that's the whole thing. We're not trying to start drama. We're not trying to cause anybody drama. We're not trying to cause any problems for anyone. If you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. I'll give you an example. I don't go on other people's Facebook pages and post negative comments about them. I don't go on people's YouTube page and post negative comments about people. I don't do that because I believe I see someone's Facebook page or someone's YouTube channel as like their personal property. It's like coming to somebody's house and then talking bad about their mama or something. You don't do that, right? So if I have anything negative to say, I'll keep it to myself, or I'll say it on my own webpage, not on someone else's. Because my webpage is my webpage, and that's where I get to express my opinions about someone else. But I would never go to someone else's Facebook page, even groups that I don't like Joy of Satan or the Satanic Temple or something like that. I would never go on their Facebook page and say something nasty, because to me, that's their house, that's their property. And you have to respect everybody's individual sovereignty and everybody's individual right to have an opinion. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this community that have no concept of honor or integrity or respecting other people's rights as individuals to express their opinions without being interfered with. A lot of people in this community talk about respecting individual rights and individual sovereignty, but they really don't know what those words mean. And they certainly don't act like they believe in those things. And unlike most other satanic groups or organizations or traditions, we in Shadow Path Diabolism try to live by the principles we preach. We try very hard to live up to the standards we talk about on this podcast. We may not always do it. I mean, I'm human and Brother Mo is human. We're all human, and we might make mistakes and we might fall short of our standards, but it doesn't mean we're not going to try to live by what we preach. One of the things that's very difficult for people to understand, especially the atheistic type Satanist and the left-hand path type Satanist who don't have a spiritual belief, is because they believe religion is a scam, because they believe all religion is some kind of hoax or some kind of snake oil salesman type thing, they don't understand what it means to have true conviction. They don't understand what it means to stand up for a cause. They don't really understand what it means to have a supernatural experience that changes your life forever. And they don't understand what it's like to live your life with a belief and a knowledge in spiritual forces beyond yourself, and the idea of having an obligation to those spiritual forces that you must keep. That's an eternal commitment that you will keep in this lifetime and many lifetimes to come. These are all alien concepts to people who have no belief in the spiritual, the supernatural, or the paranormal. But to us, it's a very natural thing. And to us, our beliefs are the most important things in our life. It's everything we focus on, right? So for these people, these concepts of faith and devotion and discipline and love for the gods is a foreign language, right? So since they see it as a scam, they think everybody else is out to scam other people. And I will tell you this much. I don't know if all the things I set out to do will succeed. I don't know if they'll succeed. I don't know if they'll catch on. I don't know if anybody will even care. All I know is it's a promise that I made to Satan that I would do my best. And I intend to do that. And I intend to keep my promise. And all I can do, and my main motivation in this podcast, is to just keep doing the podcast every day. Because I realize that most people believe that people that do podcasts or people that practice Satanism or diabolism or demonolatry, they're all out to get attention and they're all out trying to scam people or start a cult or whatever. And it's going to take a while before people learn to trust, before people really believe you and believe that you have good intentions and that you're genuine. So my thing is, I'm just going to keep doing what I do, no matter what anybody says, and let my actions speak for themselves. And hopefully people will learn to trust me over time and realize that, you know what, that Nero guy means what he says. He practices what he preaches. He may not be perfect, but he tries very hard, and he's a genuine person. And the way you do that is by doing the work for Satan every day, consistently, and letting your actions speak for themselves. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. I hope that helps. I hope it's given somebody some motivation and some understanding of where I'm coming from. And I hope it helps you to understand what diabolism is about a little bit more, Shadow Path Diabolism particularly. The whole reason I'm starting this new tradition and the whole reason I'm in the process of founding this ministry and doing this work is because I want to give people a place where if they truly believe in Satan, they truly want to devote their life to serving him and the demons, there is a place for them where they won't be mocked, they won't be abused, they won't be mistreated for believing in him, and they will be treated like a serious person, and their religion will be treated with respect, and their devotion to the gods will be treated with respect. That's something that is sorely lacking in the satanic community and the occult community, and I'm trying to do everything I can through this ministry to fix it.
If you would like to learn more about the Shadow Path Diabolism tradition of occultism, go to rjwomack.com. That's rjwomack.com. If you enjoyed this podcast and support our message, tell a friend, leave us a review, and follow us on social media.